So we have to do our little banner first before we get into this. Van Halen 2, blah, 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 whatever. And we're going to talk about it, right?
Right, of course.
This is the Van Halen Record Exchange Van Halen podcast or whatever it is. We don't even really have a title yet. Actually, the first episode hasn't even dropped yet. It'll drop November 22nd, but you'll have already heard this before you hear that. So, hey, how about that? All right, I'm gonna roll this bastard just so I can have us synced up to it, and here we go. I did the song mix a little different this time. In the first 2 episodes, I went basically in track order. But this one, I did something a little different where I want to subvert expectations and play a lot of like stuff in different order. So it starts off with this. I know starts off with Somebody Get Me a Doctor, but we're talking about Van Halen II, which was released March 23rd, 1979. It was recorded in the second week of December of 1978, not too long after they had recorded the first album. Also, if I sound different, it's because I'm using a different mic this time. I'm using my very expensive Audio-Technica mic that I have owned for like 2 years, or 3 even, recommended to me from Chris Cooling, and I never used it, so I'm using it tonight.
I'm still using the same old shitty headset.
You're just using your Jim's brand headpiece and talkie box you got from secondhand from eBay.
Exactly. This one I did get secondhand from eBay. Funny you say that. But no, I keep hoping I find like a really good Turtle Beach out there. Like that would be the greatest headset to use.
I'd like to send you something. I'd like to send you something to make you sound like Barry White, so I don't have to do the filters anymore in your voice. It's like, baby, welcome to the podcast, baby.
Yeah, no, I got a voice that could cut glass.
It's cutting mine right here in the kitchen. Jesus. Okay. First thoughts. What do you think of this record?
Iconic. Amazing. Falls a little short of the first album, but still maintains its course. Only takes a very slight dip because there's a few weak spots on the record, maybe 1, if not 2. But on the whole, it's a great record.
Where does this fall on your list?
Oh man, you're making me dig up the list.
Sorry, buddy.
Oh, you're lucky I put it in a good spot. This one falls.
Get your hand out of there.
Yeah, oh God. Number 6 on my list. This one is number 6,
dude. What are you kidding me?
It's number 6. I'm sorry, it's number 6 on the list.
This
because you're 6.
This record didn't it sound douche like I directed the thing. This record is number 1 on my list. It is my absolute favorite Van Halen album because I have kind of a personal sentimental attachment to it, because when I heard the first Van Halen record, I thought they could do no wrong. I thought the record was absolutely brilliant. And then when I finally got my hands on the second record, Van Halen II, on tape, Warner Brothers tape. It was just a Warner Brothers tape, and I taped it off for my friend Derek. And I was like, I don't like this as much. I don't like this. What are they doing here? This is weird. This is unusual. I don't like this. They've shifted their formula, and they're not doing exactly what they did in the second. And this is one of the things that drives, I guess, artists and musicians crazy, is that it's the formula that makes them popular. But then when they deviate from the formula, they get scorned from their fans, right?
Yeah, I can think of one band in particular, Linkin Park.
I can think of maybe. I can think of 2 bands, maybe. Kiss, when they made Music from the Elder.
Yeah, well,
and,
a lot of drugs, a lot of everything around that time.
And Fleetwood Mac, when they made Tusk.
Yeah.
Pissed off their audience because their audience wanted to hear Rumors over and over again, I guess, for the rest of the,
When Metallica made Saint Anger.
Saint Anger is interesting, too, but I had already started to drift away from Metallica shortly after... Well, no, maybe not shortly, but the Black Album, when the Black Album came out, it was Masterpiece, Pop, all that. Big seller. It turned them into a big monster band, even though I think Injustice for All is better, but that's me. And then Loaded came out, and I didn't like what they did with Loaded.
But like Van Halen 2, Load and Reload, they grew on me. Like when so I'll tell you.
Load. I'm sorry, it's Load. Loaded was Velvet Underground.
Well,
sorry.
You could call it Loaded either way because it's just 2 records. But whatever. with my thing with Van Halen 2, you had it on a Warner Brothers cassette. Now, this, ironically enough, was the first Van Halen album I ever bought.
Huh.
Mainly because I was part of the Columbia Record Club. I had just started my membership, and they were doing a whole bunch of clearance CDs, like dollar CDs, just to get rid of some extra stock.
Right.
And they had Van Halen 2 on there. And I was like, sweet, a Van Halen record for $1, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
You know, and I listened to it, and I was like, this is good, but it's not the first album. It was just a rough listen at first, but then, you know, your tastes refine, it grows on you. It becomes a really good record.
Yeah, that's what it took for me. I had to listen to it over and over again, and then I just fell in love with it because it was. This is different. This is if you listen to the production, this record is much it removed from the first record because the band sounds a lot more tight. The microphone placement, the air around the instruments, and Ted Templeman, I guess getting them comfortable. They sound a lot more comfortable and they sound a lot more confident playing these songs than they did in the first record.
Can I tell you, I think they made a mistake by opening up that record with You're No Good.
Well, I've grown so accustomed to hearing. I love the cover. I think it's a great cover. It's a Van Halen cover.
Well, it is a great cover, but let me tell you, when I first heard it, that kind of I knew that song front to back when I was a kid.
Well, who popularized it, right? It was Linda Ronstadt that popularized the song. It was around for years, but she made it really popular around that time too. So then you hear a Van Halen cover of it, not a few years after she recorded her version.
Right, and then it's just like, you know, if they could have copied formula by putting You're No Good a little further down the record like they did with You Really Got Me. Because they opened up with Running with the Devil, then you got Eruption, then you've got the cover song, and then you've got the rest. That's what they should have done with Van Halen 2. Open up with Dance the Night Away.
Well, I think this one's a little more fluid and melodic because of track placement. I think they were consciously thinking of track placement. Whereas with Van Halen, what they were really selling in the first record was Eddie's guitar. But here, they take it a little bit more. They just get right into the songs, and they've got kind of a flow going, right? And I remember, the story behind Spanish Fly was really interesting because nobody believed that he could do what he did on the guitar for Eruption. So he does kind of a version of Eruption with an acoustic guitar, and they call it Spanish Fly, just to show that he knows what he's doing.
And he knows his shit.
Yeah. And then you get into Dance the Night Away, which is their first big single, actually. This one actually reaches 15 on the Hot 100. Oh, and also the record itself is the first to crack the top 10. The first album didn't crack the top 10. So this record was probably the fastest selling of the Van Halen titles because it still would be a couple of months after that it would get platinum status. But this one started selling right away. So it just flew off the shelves at that time, even though the first record sold over 10 million copies. First record in 1984, but this one was kind of an apex at the time for the band until I guess I want to say 1984. It was like the biggest selling record.
Van Halen 2, like you said, that's the one that got the sales going.
Yeah.
It got the sales of the first album picking up, and
because of the touring, they just nonstop toured, and every time they toured, they sold really well. They were kind of like a lot of bands. A lot of bands, records don't sell until they actually get out on the road.
You ain't kidding.
I mean, you could put an album out there. You can spend $1 million on a record, and it's not going to sell unless you're out there to support it. But anyway, we better wrap this up. Any final thoughts? My favorite songs, of course. I love the cover of You're No Good. Dance the Night Away, great song. Somebody Get Me a Doctor, one of personal favorite. Bottoms Up, great song. Out of Love Again, love that song. Me and my wife love that song. She's like a big fan of it because it's a big rockabilly record. Light Up the Sky, fantastic. Spanish Fly, DOA. Women in Love, great. Beautiful Girls, awesome. And you.
See, so you like the whole record.
Yeah.
The standouts for me pretty much Dance the Night Away, DOA, Spanish Fly, Beautiful Girls, and of course Somebody Get Me a Doctor.
Somebody Get Me a Doctor. All right. And then we're going to be back next time to talk about women and children first, and I will have a different formula for this show because I want to take my time doing this. I don't want to rush by my stupid video. Look at my stupid video. With the really nice artwork by my wife, I want to mention, who designed the VP logo that you see there at the bottom of the thing. And good night.
I guess we should say, before you say good night, like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe, damn it.
Good night.
Good night.